The thing that drove me down this rabbit hole in the first place was the fact that Sandy's whole character revolves around two things: her intelligence and her home. Texas is a huge chunk of her identity. It's a pretty frequent gag in the show, actually. So why would she choose to leave it for a place which is completely foreign and out of her natural habitat? This is no different than if you and I decided to put on diving suits and live in an underwater town. But that doesn't matter. If the reason she lives in Bikini Bottom is because she's somehow happy down there, then the video would be over already. But she's actually shown feeling homesick, such as in the episode Texas, which is an episode all about Sandy missing Texas. She had felt so homesick, in fact, that she actually decided to go back home. The only reason she ended up staying in the end was because SpongeBob and Patrick threw her a Texas-themed party which made her feel at home. This is the most obvious sign of her homesickness, but throughout the show, there are a lot of minor details which hint at her missing her home. For example, she constantly mentions it.
Back in Texas, we call ice cream frozen cow juice.
Or makes references to it.
That there's a Texas-sized bubble.
It's pretty clear that, to some extent, she's not exactly happy in Bikini Bottom, or at least she'd be happier back home. But why did she move in the first place? She doesn't seem like the type of person who got bored of home and wanted a change of scenery. And what's keeping her from going back? To answer this, it's worth asking something the show kind of glosses over. What does Sandy actually do all day? Think about every main character in Bikini Bottom and what their purpose is. SpongeBob, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs work at the Krusty Krab, Mrs. Puff runs the boating school, Patrick freeloads off SpongeBob, Larry's a lifeguard, even the background fish have jobs. But Sandy, who's supposedly the most intelligent creature in the entire town, is never seen going to work. She doesn't have a boss, nor does she have customers. In short, she's unemployed. But here's the thing, the dome, the equipment in her lab, the systems that keep the whole thing running, the air supply, all of it costs money, which has to come from somewhere. And if there's a source for this money, then there's work being done for that source. So in other words, I believe that the reason Sandy lives underwater has something to do with her job. But that still doesn't explain a lot. For starters, why couldn't she have just worked on the surface? So Sandy is pretty well known for being into science. She's always inventing new technology and conducting experiments. And I think it's reasonable to assume that this is her job, since it's the closest thing to work we actually see her do in the show. But we're never really told who's making her do this or why she has to do all this beneath the ocean, with the exception of one episode. In the episode Chimps Ahoy, it is shown that Sandy works for a corporation called Tree Dome Enterprises. In this episode, 3 chimps who are Sandy's employers came to see if she'd made any new discoveries or inventions. They were the ones overseeing all the work she was doing underwater. They threatened to pull her funding if she didn't show them any new meaningful discoveries. Sandy was devastated because she hadn't made any discoveries, and this meant that she had to leave Bikini Bottom. Quick side note, did you notice that now Sandy's sad to go back home? Haven't I been trying to prove the opposite? Remember this, because it will be important later on in the video. Anyway, why would she have to leave Bikini Bottom? Couldn't she just find another job? I think the reason she'd have to go back is because her tree dome and everything she owns isn't her property. They're provided by the company, which is a real thing. We've all heard of company cars or company housing. They're only yours until the company decides to fire you or take them away. And there's also the name Tree Dome Enterprises, which imply that the tree dome belongs to them. Keep in mind that Sandy's a squirrel. There aren't a lot of places in the ocean she could just move into, so it would make sense that she'd need to go back home if they took that away. But why would a company go through the trouble of paying for all of that equipment in the ocean? Why the ocean? It must cost a lot to constantly deliver equipment back and forth, not to mention the constant supply of fresh air that need to be transferred. There must be something about Bikini Bottom specifically which was worth all this trouble. There's a popular internet theory which explains how Bikini Bottom is named after Bikini Atoll, a real place in the Pacific where the United States detonated 23 nuclear weapons between 1946 and 1958. It's been confirmed that Bikini Bottom is located under the islands of Bikini Atoll. But some fans also think that the reason the fish walk upright and act more human with clothes, languages, technologies, and everything is because the radiation from the bombs affected the fish in a way in which they mutated into more evolved versions of themselves. If the creatures in Bikini Bottom are the product of radiation-induced genetic mutation, then what they represent scientifically is unlike anything else on Earth. The applications in medicine, genetics, materials, and science would be worth an extraordinary amount to whoever could study and patent them. And that's where Sandy comes in. Sandy was sent to research the fish in Bikini Bottom and Bikini Bottom itself, and this has been in front of our faces since the very start of the show. like in the episodes The Fishbowl, where Sandy runs behavioral experiments on SpongeBob and Patrick. She has them separate white sand from black sand and purposefully creates variables which cause them to act more feral and angry towards each other. In the beginning of the episode A Fish Called Sandy, Sandy had written a scientific paper about the ocean and its creatures. This is clear evidence that she studies the ocean. This puts to question her relationship with her friends. Is she really their friend, or is she simply studying them? So that's the video. Sandy wasn't just a squirrel who wanted a change of scenery. She was sent to study what the effects of long exposure to radiation have on sea life. But wait, if Sandy has been living in one of the most heavily radiated environments on Earth for years, wouldn't that mean that Sandy herself is? During the Bikini Atoll bombings, a number of land creatures were exposed to the radiation from the bombs. Animals such as rats and guinea pigs. This was done to study the effects of radiation. Ironically, that's what Sandy's going through as well. Have you ever wondered why Sandy wears a full spacesuit when every other air-breathing creature who comes underwater just uses a bowl? When SpongeBob visits Sandy's dome, he only puts a fishbowl on his head. When the chimps from Chimps Ahoy step out of their submarine into the ocean, they use a bowl. They're the same type of creature as Sandy, air-breathing land mammals, and a bowl is all they need. And this is also true for Sandy. In the episode Pressure, Sandy wanted to prove that land creatures are better than sea creatures. So she took off her helmet and suit to prove that she didn't need them. But she couldn't hold her breath for long. And after she couldn't last any longer, she rummaged around for something to give her air, and all she needed to breathe was a pickle jar. This implies that Sandy doesn't need the suit to breathe. But if it isn't there to help her breathe, why does she wear it? The difference between the fish folk who don't wear a suit is that they're already radioactive. The chimps don't wear a suit because they're only there for a day. Sandy, on the other hand, lives in Bikini Bottom all the time. So what if the suit's real use is to shield her from any radiation still in Bikini Bottom? If you look really closely at the patch on Sandy's suit, it was changed from the one in the early seasons. The one from the beginning kinda looks like a radiation symbol. But if the suit is there to protect her, then why am I claiming that she's contaminated? In the show, Sandy has two main outfits: her regular spacesuit and a bikini with a skirt. Whenever she's not wearing the suit, she's unprotected. Short exposure might not be harmful to her, but over the years, it's accumulated enough to have an effect. You might claim that whenever Sandy is not in her spacesuit, she's shielded by her dome, but that's not the case. In the Season 2 episode, Survival of the Idiots, Sandy was hibernating for the winter, meaning that she spent a large amount of time in her tree dome without her suit. So what does she do? She seals her entire dome with metal. Metal, like lead and steel, which happens to be ideal for shielding radiation. Keep in mind that the show never explains why she has a full metal casing all over her house in that episode. Now, why do I think her regular tree dome is not safe? In the episode Tea at the Tree Dome, Sandy tells SpongeBob that her dome is made from polyurethane. This material doesn't do anything at all to stop radiation. Knowing all this would explain why Sandy only considers going home permanently in early SpongeBob episodes. Because back then, it wasn't too late for her. But now, going back for so long would put anyone she comes in contact with at risk. This could be why she didn't want to go back home in Chimps Ahoy. But there's something else which felt a little fishy about Sandy. In the episode Feral Friends, Neptune's moon rises over Bikini Bottom and starts reverting every sea creature to its primitive feral state, kind of reversing the effects of Bikini Atoll. The whole town devolves one by one, and Sandy walks through all of it unaffected because the moon only works on sea life. She immediately knows what to do and who to call to stop this chaos. A diver, also in a full pressurized suit, who by the looks of it already knows Sandy well, and this diver is worth paying attention to. In the SpongeBob movie, the same diver appears, meaning this guy is frequently in the ocean, much like Sandy. He also has a picture of Sandy, implying that they really are close to each other. They probably work for the same people. But let's take a step back. Sandy was somehow equipped to handle this situation. Could it be that she's simply not only researching the fish, but also responsible for making sure that the subjects remain unharmed? If you think about it, Sandy's always there to save the day, every single time there's danger. Also, isn't it weird that Sandy just so happens to be a very skilled fighter? It's almost like the people that sent her there wanted their scientists to be prepared for whatever danger Bikini Bottom might face. But the thing is, I don't believe Sandy is simply doing her job. She's shown to care for SpongeBob and all other fish in Bikini Bottom. We saw how she chose to stay because of her friends in Bikini Bottom. She cares about these fish, enough to risk her life for them time and time again and give up any chance of going back home to keep them safe. And that's the theory. That's why Sandy lives in Bikini Bottom. But there's still a couple details that aren't fitting in the puzzle. Like these two. What are Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's role in all of this? Better yet, what's the deal with this fish? If you want a second part where I tackle these, let me know in the comments below. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.